think on the positives, you have a lot of companies that are looking at distributed solar power, anywhere from single lamps to call it sort of small systems. They'll electrify your house with a computer and a TV and a fridge and cooking. And I think the modularity of solar and batteries is sort of helping a lot. Exactly in terms of what the cost of that is and how can that be, how permeable is that into the 600-700 million people that don't have access to reliable electricity? That is a good question. We're like I said, we're looking at something which will take a first step at a mini grid into some of the really tricky parts of Africa. It is complex. It's not necessarily straightforward, and it does require concessionary capital. But I think if you look at the cost, sort of the cost curve for solar panels and solar power, and you then assume something similar can evolve for batteries, then this can happen very, very quickly. But you do have to also reflect that you're talking about the 700 million people are the poorest people in the region, and the one that are furthest away from centers, and cost of transport logistics is prohibitively expensive in Africa as well. So it is also the hardest hardest 700 million people to provide these services to. So that does require an extra effort, but it is amazing if you look at sort of utility scale. I mean, South Africa has since 2012 built 4 gigawatts of renewables capacity. Egypt has done a few gigawatts as well. So, and that is transformational for those countries. So it can be done. I mean, Actis, our dear friends, peers, and competitors built a 160 megawatt wind farm in Senegal. That sounds like tiny, but that is 25% of the solar capacity in the country. Wow. And that is now being they're doing an addition there to build basically a battery storage project linked to it, which I think will probably be more about providing balancing services and frequency response rather than necessarily pure storage. But that's going to have a very meaningful impact on the power supply and also CO2 footprint of the Senegalese power industry. It varies, and I think it's probably not been a priority for regulators or legislators over the last few years. But what you do have is a very well developed industry of self-generation. But I think there's only a few examples. I think Morocco is one of the few where you have a concept of wheeling put into legislation, so which then can provide a basis for corporate PPAs. But I think there's a big debate in South Africa about self-generation, which is currently limited to 1 megawatts. And obviously, when you have a company like Eskom, which is in dire financial straits, increasing self-generation or wheeling obviously puts at risk Eskom losing its best customers. So at a time when they desperately need it. So that is politically very, very, very complex.